Anne from Game Like a Mother. For our September top 10 game list, we have top 10 quiet single-player games for your child to go and play when you just have to be able to do some work from home, or everybody's kind of done with virtual education for the day and you need your kid to be able to go and do something besides video games or watch a show, and it's vaguely educational so you can tell your teacher you did something. These are the games to pick. Number one on the list, one of my favorites, is Cupcake Party. It is a Disney princess cupcake game, and it is amazing for preschool kids, but even elementary school kids like this game. I like playing this game with my kids, but I don't have to because they can do it on their own. You can do it by the rules where you're supposed to be flipping over tiles and then you collect specific pieces that go to the cupcakes you're trying to build. Or you can just use the little recipe cards and build cute cupcakes or make up your own cupcakes. I mean, it's great for boys and girls because everybody likes cupcakes. This is one of my go-to games for kids to play on their own or for kids to play with other little friends. It is just fantastic across the board and very useful for these trying times we find ourselves in. Next up, Happy Bunny is a great choice for younger kids as well. It is a cooperative game, and FYI, pretty much all of the cooperative games out there in a pinch can be single player games because the team can be just one child. And once they know how the game setup works, you can set them up over in the corner and say, beat the game and tell me how it goes. Happy Bunny is really great because if the child's setting up the board on their own, you're trying to remember which of the carrots have little bite marks in it and which don't, because the bunny likes the carrots with the little bite marks in it. And so if you collect the most of those, you beat the farmer. And so it's kind of like Candyland meets a memory game a little bit, and it's super easy, great for young kids, great for an early game. And you can set them up and say, come over and tell me if you want a game. Good job. Set it up again. And it's easy, cute, fun, good theme. Great one to have on hand in a pinch. Next up, a lot of animal-themed games here. We have Zoo Run. Again, a cooperative game. And this one has two different versions. Free the Animals is the cooperative one that you can set up for a kid. And it's great if you have a preschooler that you feel guilty, you should be doing something academic with them, but they don't want to, and honestly, neither do you right now. This teaches matching and some strategy. You're trying to match up cards with the most bunny matches. They have little front end or hind ends of animals, and you're trying to make the most animal combinations to free the animals that are in the pen before the zookeeper gets back. And so then the animals get to run free. Kids like animal games. It's a cute theme. It's very easy. And it counts as educational. I was thrilled when I showed up to a preschool event and the teacher complimented me that my child already knew how to play Candyland. I mean, he was 3, but I guess a lot of other kids hadn't. And so if you play games, that's apparently just as good as sitting them down and drilling them on their ABCs, and it's a lot more fun. So I highly recommend. Next on the list, I have Set. It is a good family game, and it has rules where you can play solo, where it's kind of like solitaire, and you're trying to use up all the cards, making sets. And it's great for thinking strategically, pattern recognition. It's good for younger kids. There's no reading involved. And then if they get kind of used to it, they can be better at it for family games. So this is going to be good practice. So they can compete against you. Like, you practice making sets. And then I can play you later once you're a pro. So this is just, it's kind of fun and quiet and calming to play. It's a really good game to have on hand for the whole family. It works really well for one player. And the way the sets work is you're trying to collect 3 cards. They either have to be all the same, like all the same of some attributes. So all the same color, all the same number, all the same pattern. And it's a really great logic puzzle, and it makes your kids smarter, and it's fun, and it's quiet. Next on the list, I have Yamslam again. I think it's been on about every list because it's so great. Yamslam, you can play single player and just try to go for the highest score. And then you add up your total at the end. Good math skills. And see if you got the highest score. This is a great thing for, I'd say, early elementary school, whenever they can add up to, to like a few hundred using little tiles. So if you haven't played, it's like Yahtzee. It's like an updated version of Yahtzee, and you roll dice, but in a felt-lined board. So it's a dice game that's actually kind of quiet. So if your child wants to sit beside you rolling dice, you're not going to lose your mind. And you can congratulate them on good rolls, but they can be pretty well occupied, so you can get something done. Next on my list, I have Cat Crimes, which is a great reading and logic game. It reminds me of a more fun version of Sudoku. It's kind of like the same thing, where they give you little pieces of information, and you're trying to place the cats around the board according to the information given, so you can figure out who the naughty cat is who committed whatever crime, which can be like chewing on the shoe or tearing up the shoe or eating the fish or whatever else. It's a really great game. They have different levels of complexity. So if your child has had it with word problems for math and it's not happening, just say, play this fun game again. It can count as math. And it's working the same kind of muscles in their brain. And it's so much more fun. Why isn't math more kiddie themed in general? Next, there are a few games that are under this like category, but my favorite is Gravity Maze. We also own Roller Coaster Challenge and Dinosaurs Mystic Islands. They are also like logic puzzles, and you can start from easy challenges to more complex. Gravity Maze, you're making like a marble run. And so they'll give you certain challenges where you start here or use these pieces and try to make this happen. And it's great. You can either do the challenges, or if it's a younger kid, they can just play around with it. My 5-year-old plays around with the roller coaster challenge all the time and just makes fun roller coasters on his own. So it's a great thing that is keeping them occupied, and you can make as much or as little of it as you want. It's very open-ended, which I greatly appreciate. And it works well for a very long time. Some of them are as young as 6, and some of them you don't even have to be able to read to figure out how to do the little challenges and logic puzzles. You can start doing it on their own, and you say, you start on this and I can come over and help you in a bit. It doesn't have to, a lot of these don't have to be single player games, but they can be. They can start out on that. You can join them later. So it's just a really good thing to have right now. Next on this list, Dr. Eureka. It sounds really good if you tell your child's teacher they're playing something called Dr. Eureka. No actual chemistry is involved. So it sounds a lot more impressive than what it actually is. This is like a fine motor skill logic puzzle. So you have these little balls that you're trying to get into the order on the card. And you have to try to do it without dropping any of them. Or in the least moves possible is what you're supposed to do if you're playing it solo. So it sounds really good with a name like Dr. Eureka. And I mean, it's teaching them to be strategic and how they move their the beakers around to try to make. And there's different challenges you can do. And they say a lot of kids are really missing out on fine motor skills now. So it's a great thing to be developing. But no chemistry involved. Little kids can do it. but it's good for older kids too. And we like it. It's fun. It's cute. And it does, I mean, you have to use some logic to make it happen. Next, another kind of motor skills one is Suspend, which you're trying to create the biggest structure you can with all of these different like metallic things that you're attaching to each other. And you can make it like balance really precariously. You're trying to make it not fall down. They have a younger kid version that I would have gotten for my younger kids if I had known beforehand. The older one it definitely is 8 and up. But it's a good thing for older kids because we've been doing some virtual school and we need some breaks so we can survive. And last on this list is Magic Maze, which again is technically a cooperative game, but they have a version to play that is 1 player. And this feels like a video game, especially if you're playing it solo. And that's a lot of what my oldest son is asking for while he's at home. And especially with doing a lot of online activities, they don't need any additional screen time. And so you can say, well, here is Magic Maze. And you're using a lot of the same skills and the whole theme. You're trying to get your heroes to steal items in a shopping mall because they lost all of their magical items. They're trying to steal them back and get out of the mall in time so they can go on their next adventure. And you have to be pretty strategic in what you do. If you play multiplayer, it's a non-talking game. So that's very challenging, but it's fun, it's exciting, it's strategic, and it has a good theme. You've got a mage, a wizard, a dwarf, and a barbarian. Mage, barbarian, elf, dwarf. So very good, like video game style theme, some good strategy, good for your older kids that are just like, I want video games. I've been staring at a screen for the last 3 hours. And you're like, well, why don't you try this? Or I can play this with you in a little bit, but it's something you can do on your own in the meantime. So we've got for September. It's been quite the September. I hope you're all hanging in there. So give your kid a new game, tell them to go for it, and I hope it goes well. Thanks, and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.